West progressivism is spreading in the Middle East is such a funny thing to say, especially considering that the peaceful West progressivism is quite literally in Gaza. Okay, is the destruction of the Iranian assets that have caused an ecological disaster. American government lasering a school with like 150 schoolgirls. Like, that's what you think is Western
channels, but they're not causing shock. You know, 2 missiles have been fired at Turkey in 5 days, ostensibly at Incirlik, a base in the south.
Incirlik is the American base. It's so hard to believe because Florida's failed every election. That state hasn't been the same since the Bush era. Yeah, it's because Democrats don't have good candidates like Oliver. That's it, dude. That's a big part of the problem. So that's precisely what look, even before I knew of Oliver's existence, he is exactly what I dreamed of as far as like a perfect candidate in like a somewhat purple-ish district, okay? A guy who can like actually prove the reality that you can just go out there and you can be like, this is what I believe, you know, who doesn't treat the populace as like idiots, who's not afraid of you know, taking these positions. For example, with Cuba, like it's unheard of for a Democrat anywhere to be like, oh my God, like we have to bomb Cuba is like the normal opinion of like the average Democrat, because they're like, oh, we're so terrified. He's like, for him to come out and just be like, no, this is ridiculous. Like what we're doing to Cuba is ridiculous. Like to be able to do that advocacy, to have that knowledge to be able to do that advocacy, but then also to have that confidence that like you can say that in South Florida to Cubans and they will understand. They're not stupid. Okay, people are not stupid. It is incredibly frustrating that a lot of our politicians, a lot of our electeds, treat people like they're stupid. Okay, and I'm sick and tired of it. Zoran did a really good job with that too. I think Oliver does a really good job with that as well.
Near the city of Adana, where America has dozens of fighter jets and bombers and reportedly nuclear warheads. But both missiles have been shot down harmlessly. So this shows NATO air defenses work.
IRGC responds to Donald Trump. Yeah, we'll get to that.
The reaction is calm. Erdogan gave a speech early this evening in which he had the necessary warnings given to Iran. But despite these, Iran continues to take, quote, the wrong steps. And then he said, nobody should insist on doing wrong. Nobody should fall into the trap of the Zionist massacre organization, that's his euphemism for the Israeli government, of making brother kill brother. And by that he means Iranians and Turks are Muslim brothers. And then interestingly, he also said, we are watching the entities in the region. By that, he was referring to the Iranian Kurdish organization in the northeast of Iraq, which indicated last week.
It is pretty funny that like I sometimes forget because I'm so Americanized at this point, but like I'm used to a government not treating Hamas automatically as like a terrorist group. You know what I mean? It's something that like does play a role in, I guess, like my social conditioning to a certain degree. Like even though Erdogan is a NATO country, obviously a NATO ally, but like the same goes for like even some European countries as well. Like the certain concepts that we have in America taken for granted, that we don't even think about, that we don't even actually question, right? Are not even like, they're on the exact opposite side in a lot of like European countries where people just like don't consider them to be the same thing. And it's not even like, you go to South Africa, right? That's not even a question. Like if you were to be like, this is like, what do you think about like resistance groups? They'd be like, what? It's great. It's awesome. I'm glad that they exist. What are you talking about? You know?
Week that it would be happy to go into Iran and engage Iranian government forces. And initially, President Donald Trump said he would welcome that. But then it looks as if wiser people spoke in Trump's ear, because he walked back from that offer to help the Iranian Kurdish militia.
Is there any sense, Jasper, given what you've told us about the NATO defences working, there must be a sense, though, among people that this could escalate? It takes one missile to fall in the wrong place, one issue like that to really create outrage. Turkey, of course, having that border with Iran. Is there a feeling that this could escalate?
Well, escalation is certainly a potential possibility. And Mark, the Incirlik Air Base is 10 kilometers from the center of Adana, a city of 1.8 million people. So if a missile were to puncture NATO air defenses and be slightly off course, it would land in a residential area of Adana and cause civilian casualties. And Turkey certainly doesn't want that. But, you know, so far in this war, Iran has been targeting the assets of its enemies, the US and Israel. Now, the US has two military assets in Turkey, Incirlik and the Kuricik radar station, which is also in the east of Turkey. Now, so far, Iran has failed to hit Incirlik, and there is no evidence that it has even tried to hit Kuricik. Escalation would actually mean Iran hitting Turkish assets. So far, there's no sign of that, and I think there's a reason. You know, when this war began, Turkey was the only regional power that condemned Washington outright. The Gulf states didn't like America starting this war, Washington.
Why is Iran attacking Turkey? It seems not smart to trigger NATO by attacking one of the strongest European powers in the world. I don't know, chatter. I don't know, Neek Skit. I don't know why they're doing that, okay? I'm sure they got their reasons. All right.
Turkey did. And I think Iran is grateful for that. And I think Iran sees Turkey as a potential mediator when the time comes for bringing this conflict to an end.
Jasper Mortimer, as always, thank you for your analysis of the situation. Jasper Mortimer, our correspondent in Ankara. Thank you for joining us, sir.
Bugünkü hadise bağlamında yanlışta ısrar ve inat edilmemesi gerektiğini bir kez daha hatırlatıyorum.
Yeah, it was Sean McCreesh of the New York Times, by the way. Someone almost certainly fed him this line. Someone in the administration told him that the Tomahawk is used by 3 other countries, all of them Western, and therefore the question of who could possibly be responsible can be allowed to loom. Yeah, it must have been the Dutch. The Dutch were lobbing Tomahawks in the region. Also, yeah, as far as the IRGC, there are some statements that came out. One, Iran's IRGC says in response to Trump's comments, we are the ones who will determine the end of the war, according to the state media. And Iran's Revolutionary Guard spokesperson says Trump's comments about Iran were nonsense. As as you guys probably heard before Oliver came on, we were listening to Donald Trump yap on and on and on about how the war is over, but also it's not really over, but it's far from over, but it could be over any moment now. Meanwhile, while Trump was saying those things, those nonsensical things, Iran was literally lobbing missiles at Israel and also numerous other bases in the region. Of course, it doesn't fucking matter for the average American hog who is an absolute dumbass. But, you know, what is this? Islamofascism? Whoa. Oh, okay, yeah. That was crazy. Islamofascism caused millions of casualties since April 24th of April 1915, and now is about to collapse, and peaceful West progressivism is spreading in the Middle East. Keep crying. Peaceful West progressivism is spreading in the Middle East is such a funny thing to say, especially considering that the peaceful West progressivism is quite literally genocide in Gaza. Okay, is the destruction of the Iranian assets that have caused an ecological disaster. American government lasering a school with like 150 schoolgirls. Like, that's what you think is Western progressivism? Get the fuck out of here, man. Oh, peacefully spreading Western progressivism. Suck my dick, dumbass. Anyway, Hezbollah's decision to attack Israel in support of Iran. Kaja Kallas is back. Everyone's favorite moron. EU High Representative for Foreign Affairs and Security Policy. Hezbollah's decision to attack Israel in support of Iran endangers the entire region. Israel has the right to self-defense in line with international law. At the same time, Israel's heavy-handed response is causing mass displacement. Israel is the only country that has a right to self-defense, by the way. No other country on the planet has a right to self-defense, okay? Not even America, unironically, just Israel. I never hear the right to self-defense more than I hear when it's in defense of Israel. God, the European Union is so disgusting. Anyway, Speaking of Iranian activities in the region, obviously we got some other stuff to talk about. One, Bahrain prosecutors now seeking for citizens accused of photographing damage from the Iranian attacks. Bahrain is heating up with a lot of anger against the government there, obviously. And their way out of this is to say, how dare you take photos of the impact sites? How dare you celebrate the impacts? We are going to dominate you. In court, they're literally seeking for defendants accused of high betrayal, alleging they photographed locations where photography is prohibited. In court, prosecutors said the kingdom faces brutal Iranian aggression, adding that loyalty to the homeland is not an option that accepts negotiation and maximum penalties for violators without the slightest mercy, which they added is the case comes as authorities continue blaming Iran for the damage from a strike in Sitra, where 32 civilians, including children, were injured after a Bahraini air defense interceptor appears to have struck a residential area. This was literally the video of one of the Patriot defenses stationed inside of Bahrain accidentally went for a loop and struck a civilian neighborhood. Video from Bahrain appears to contradict the version of events given by U.S. Central Command, appearing to show an air defense interceptor descending into off camera after a failed interception attempt. Local reports say the interceptor fell into a residential neighborhood, injuring 32 civilians, including 4 who are in critical condition. Here it is. And they got so mad. They got so fucking mad that someone filmed this that they literally turned around and are now offering the death penalty to the people that filmed this shit. It's crazy. Okay? Shouts out. Great job, Bahrain. Good job. Anyway, Trump reposted Drew Pavlov, but I'm going to fucking skip that part. But what is this? Looks like something hit the Millennium Tower in Bahrain. Saudi Arabia is under attack, and Hezbollah continues to confront invading Israeli occupational armor in the south. This is an hour ago. So it's not like these guys are fucking stopping. It's not like the Iranians are stopping their unlimited attacks. Iran says Azerbaijan, Turkey, and Cyprus attacks were false flag operations by Israel. Now, considering they have the smoke for everyone, I don't know why they would have. I don't know why they would attack and open up new theaters of war and new enemies in general. I don't know why they would do such a thing. So I suspect that they are. Saying it's a false flag, but who knows? I mean, does Israel have Iranian missiles that they can recreate or something? I don't know. You can literally tell whether it's an Iranian missile launch or an Israeli one.
ترکیه و قبرس که شما اشاره کردید ستاد کل نیروهای مسلح صراحتاً و رسما اعلام کرد که چنین پرتابه‌هایی از ایران یا توسط نیروهای
The General Staff of the Armed Forces explicitly and officially announced that no such projectiles were launched from within Iran by our military forces. Anyway, Fox News is having a hard time defending that shit, by the way. But now let's get to Iran's Arakshi, Foreign Minister Arakshi, once again talking to PBS this time around, not the Piker Broadcasting Service, but instead the Public Broadcasting Service. By the way, shouts out to the Piker Broadcasting Service. If you'd like to support the show and continue your support, please subscribe to the Piker Broadcasting Service. PBS is sponsored by you, the viewers, for you, the viewers, PBS, for tomorrow's news today. Piker Broadcasting Service. Please subscribe so I can maintain my editorial independence.
From the Iranian government. Earlier today, I spoke with Iran's Foreign Minister, Abbas Araghchi, who joined us from Tehran. Mr. Minister, welcome to the News Hour. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me, Amna. Thank you indeed.
So I'd like to ask you first about the news, the selection of Mojtaba Khamenei, the son of the late Ayatollah, who's been named the new selected supreme leader of Iran. Some say his selection is a message of continuity of his father's leadership, of continued defiance to the U.S. and Israel. Do you agree with that? Is that the message Iran would like to send?
Well, I think that is a correct evaluation. It shows that the continuity and some sort of stability at the same time.
And since his selection, has he or anyone in your leadership had any contact with U.S. officials? Is that something that he is open to talk about negotiations or a ceasefire?
Well, first of all, it's too soon, for him to make any comment. We are all waiting for his speeches and comments, which would come later on. But I don't think the question of talking with Americans or negotiation with Americans once again
Buzz is eating today, and I'm not talking about Kubi Day. Thanks, chatter.
would be on the table because, we have a very, bitter experience of talking with Americans. We negotiated with them last year in last June, and they attacked us in the middle of negotiations. And again this year, they tried to convince us that this time is different. They promised us that they don't have any intention to attack us. And they wanted to resolve Iran's nuclear question peacefully and to find a negotiated solution. And we finally accepted. But again, after 3 rounds of negotiation, and after the American team in the negotiation, said itself that we made a big progress, still they decided to attack us. So I don't think, talking with Americans anymore would be, on our agenda anymore.
Mr. Minister, this war has now entered its 10th day. I know you have said that unless there's a permanent end to the war, not a ceasefire, in other words, that Iran will continue to defend itself, continue to fight. Can I ask you, what do you believe that the U.S. and Israel are trying to achieve or trying to change with this war?
Well, actually, they tried to achieve some targets, some of their goals, but they failed. They thought that in a matter of 2 or 3 days, they can go for a regime change, they can go for a rapid, clean victory, but they failed. So I believe that, plan A was a failure, and now they are trying other plans, but all of them have failed as well. And I don't think they have any, any realistic, end game in their mind, because we are seeing some sort of a chaos in their sayings, in their, actions. They have just started to attack us blindly. They are attacking today. They attacked, residential areas. They attacked hospitals. They attacked schools, and they entered into to attacking our infrastructure, which is a very dangerous move. And as a result, you can see the oil prices everywhere in the world. So I don't see any reasonable goal that they are following. They failed to achieve their goals at the beginning, and now after 10 days, I think they are aimless.
I do want to ask more about the oil prices. As you mentioned, there have been widespread disruptions in the delivery of oil in the Persian Gulf. We're seeing prices here in the U.S. start to rise as well. Do you believe that you can pressure the U.S. and Israel to stop their attacks by slowing or stopping oil production as well?
Well, this is not our fault. This is not our plan. The oil production, the transportation of oil has been slowed down or stopped, not because of us, because of the attacks and aggression made by Israelis and Americans against us. So they have made the whole region insecure. And this is why the tankers, the ships are scared, to pass through the Strait of Hormuz. We have not closed that strait. We have not. We are not preventing them to navigate in that strait, but this is the result of the aggression by Israelis and Americans, which has made the whole region insecure, unstable, and the consequences are huge for not only us but for the whole region and now for the international community.
Iran has, though, hit multiple oil facilities in other nations, in some of the region's top producing nations, in fact, Saudi Arabia and Iraq and Kuwait. And we heard from your top military spokesman today who said, if you can tolerate oil at more than $200 per barrel, continue this game. So is limiting oil supply part of your strategy here?
Well, actually, this is a war imposed on us. And what we are doing...
Wait, Trump fucking said Iran has American tomahawks? Bro. They are literally flailing around, okay? They have nothing at all, which is precisely the reason why they're just like, WAPO report that Israel lost a key radar and is looking for an off-ramp in the war? Wait, no way. New Trump post, by the way. Trump on Truth Social. If Iran does anything that stops the flow of oil within the Strait of Hormuz, they will be hit by the United States of America 20 times harder than they've been hit thus far. Additionally, we will take out easily destroyable targets that will make it virtually impossible for Iran to ever be built back as a nation again. Death, fire, and fury will rain upon them, but I hope and pray it does not happen. This is a gift from the United States of America to China and all of those nations that heavily use the Hormuz Strait. Hopefully it's a gesture that will be greatly appreciated. Yeah, I mean, he's saying, like, we're going to fucking strike the oil refineries even harder than we already have struck. That's it. That's the threat. The threat is we're going to do genocide to 93 million people, like, possibly. What is this? David Ignatius is a WAPO journalist who's basically the CIA's media mouthpiece, gets fed everything, prints what they want him to, pretending the decision is with Trump. The battered Axis powers want an off-ramp fast. A few senior officials in Israel are starting to voice concern about the escalating open-ended attack on Iran and suggesting possible exit ramps that might halt the war before it further damages the region and global economy. Talk of an endgame is early, and a decision about whether to stop the attacks rests largely with President Donald Trump, who continues to seek all-out victory. But in a telephone conversation Sunday, a senior Israeli official familiar with the planning and strategy of the Iran war discussed alternatives to Trump, what Trump calls unconditional surrender. The official requested anonymity because of the sensitivity of the Iran situation. No, it's just like, I still think it's fucking bullshit. And the reason why I say I think it's fucking bullshit, oh my God, that's funny. The reason why I think it's bullshit is because, like, Israel is the one that's, like, agitating further. I doubt that desalination plants and the power grid targets, including the oil refineries, like you said, I think it's like they're already hitting some of these things, right? They're hitting some of the stuff, but they're just like saying we're gonna fuck the civilian life up. We're gonna fuck civilian existence up even further than we have thus far. If you posture against, like, the tankers from moving, which, for the record, in terms of, like, the Iranian response, they have to. Now that they have said that if you, like, go through and if you have a vessel that, like, we are not allowing to pass through the Hormuz, because Iran is announcing that any Arab and European country that expels the Israeli and U.S. ambassador would be granted free passage through the Strait of Hormuz. Okay? The point is, Iran is saying, like, we're controlling the cards here. We're controlling who gets to pass through the Strait of Hormuz. If you want to pass through, you have to give us assurances, right? And Donald Trump doesn't want that. Donald Trump doesn't want Iran to have that control, except Iran does have that control whether Trump likes it or not. You can melt the civilian electrical grid, right? The electricity grid that 93 million people fucking rely on. But at the end of the day, Iran can still lob missiles from their facilities and overwhelm any boat that tries to pass through without Iran's go-ahead. Okay? It's kind of fucked up that his, like, Americans' only means of dealing with people is like, oh, we'll just murder every single human that lives in your country. Like, we'll just murder every single human being that lives in your country. We'll make life uninhabitable. Like, that's the only tool we have. We can only go up the escalation ladder. We can't go down and de-escalate. But I think it's a desperate move from Trump. Like, this statement is one of desperation. It doesn't spell victory in the way that he was talking about it earlier today. If you were to ask him earlier today, he's like, oh, we've accomplished all of our military goals. Iran has no smoke. Iran has no bombs left. They got no bitches, right? So if the Iranian Navy is destroyed, as you claim it is, if the Iranian Air Force is destroyed, as you claim it is, then why are you still threatening Iran? I thought you already destroyed their facilities. I thought you already destroyed their capabilities of controlling the Strait of Hormuz. Now it feels like you're fucking fearful. Now it feels like you haven't actually destroyed its capabilities whatsoever. Meanwhile, if you want to understand how bad the situation actually is, which, by the way, China needs to fucking pick up the pace here. Jesus Christ. American satellite imagery company Planet Labs said that they were going to release information from this region after holding on for 9 days. Now they've increased the delay to 14 days. We're never getting that fucking Planet Labs imagery, for the record. They don't want to show exactly how bad the damage is. They don't want to show exactly how badly Iran destroyed American facilities. So now it's time for Mizar Vision to pick up the goddamn slack. Okay? Planet Labs is a satellite imagery company. It's a commercial American satellite imagery company. After consultations with the U.S. government, has announced an unprecedented 14-day delay to release the imagery of the Middle East. They don't want to show the world how good Iran has, how badly Iran's been defeated. That's what it is. That's what's going on here, chat. Satellite imagery companies, American commercial satellite imagery companies only do this when America's winning really well. You know, that's what it is. That's what's going on. Zoom out on this cam a little bit. Oh, fuck. There you go. Hasan, you look fried. I've been tired. I've been tired. Are you able to tell how far back I sent my first shot? I remember watching J6 on stream live. My 60-year-old Bangladeshi dad and mom are watching you on TV right now. Hi, mom and dad.
Jen Griffin.
Anyway, Jen Griffin, they're talking about the Tomahawk. They're trying to defend the American Tomahawk situation. Let's take a look at how well they do that on Fox News.
One of the questions, Jen, in that news conference was about the strike on the girls' school that's next to a base in Iran, and it was a Tomahawk missile. The president saying Tomahawks are used by other countries, but an investigation is ongoing. What do we know about where that stands?
Well, that was a bit surprising to me because basically the U.S. has Tomahawks. Tomahawks have to be fired from either submarines or from warships. The Brits and the Australians have Tomahawks, but they're not part of this conflict. And then you also have the Japanese who are in a testing phase. So it seems highly unlikely that it would be anyone's Tomahawk other than a U.S. Tomahawk that hit that school. And I think the president knows that. He just knows that this is certainly a mistake, a big mistake, and it's being investigated, but he's trying to sort of muddy the waters by talking about the Tomahawks.
Yeah.
Oops. Yeah. Great stuff.
They were saying that they didn't believe it was theirs, or they believed that Iran misfired something. Are we sure that it was a Tomahawk that hit that school?
There's no evidence that the Iranians fired anything at this school. If you look at the satellite imageries, and there have been a lot of investigations from the air, from these satellite photos, showing the impact and showing the likelihood that it was a Tomahawk.
God damn, they're cooking him. The White House expected an uprising in Iran. Instead, huge crowds are rallying behind the country's new hardline supreme leader, blaming the U.S. for civilian deaths, including more than 160 children killed when a missile destroyed a girls' school.
Now, so you attended that rally that was in. What was it like?
IRGC found the weak spot for Trump. Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps say in response to Trump's comments that they are the ones who will determine the end of the war. The IRGC added that Tehran would not allow the export of 1 liter of oil from the region if the U.S. and Israeli attacks continued.
It was huge. It was massive. There were thousands, tens of thousands, maybe even hundreds of thousands of people, Anderson, who turned out. It was in Engelab Square, which is Revolutionary Square, obviously celebrating the Islamic Revolution. And there really was a twofold message. On the one hand, people there were mourning the death of Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, the late supreme leader, who of course was killed in an airstrike a little over a week ago, and then also pledging allegiance to the new supreme leader, to Ayatollah Mojtaba Khamenei, who of course is the second eldest son of the late supreme leader. A lot of people there were very angry at the current situation, I have to say. A lot of the people were pretty charged up, screaming death to America.
Bro, this is why I still ride for mainstream news, okay? Do they do a lot of propaganda? Absolutely, they do, okay? Are they aligned with the State Department all the time? Yes. But at the end of the day, they still got fucking dudes that they will send out there to conflict zones. Like there is no alternative to this. Like, I need you to understand, there is no fucking alternative to this. There is no UGC that you can create that's like reliable at all. Even if you know where CNN's biases are, it's still worthwhile to have a guy out there, even if you know that they're fucking biased.
Death to Israel, certainly a lot more so and a lot more forcefully than we've witnessed in the past. And we've been at a lot of events similar to this one in the past. It was
crazy that Iran allows Western reporters into Iran, but Israel won't let reporters in the Gaza. Yeah, of course not, dude. Because look, Iran obviously understands that there is like utility to showcasing the regular Iranian existence on the ground, as opposed to just like letting Western media dominate the fucking airwaves in whichever way they see fit. It's also solidifying the proof in the eyes of the Western world of war crimes in general. And that's precisely the reason why they are obviously going to let Western journalists into the country. Iran has turned public sentiment in less than 2 weeks. I can't even. I mean, no, that's just our community. Let's be real. We're far from the norm here. But the very fact that there is a community as large as this one that even recognizes the sovereignty of Iranian people in general is unheard of in American news. But like, be real. Like, if you ask the average person, I don't think the average person is thinking like, no, Iran is actually shattering American hegemony and that's a good thing. You know what I mean? Oh, you meant like inside of Iran. No, I don't. I mean, there's still plenty of people. There's still plenty of people that are frustrated with the government, but like obviously they're infinitely more frustrated with America and Israel.
Very large, and you could tell that the people there were really angry at the Trump administration, were very angry, obviously, at Israel as well. But at the same time, also tried to project that the governing forces here are still very much in control, Anderson, and also that there is a succession in place and that the leadership here in this country is still very much intact.
It's just like, I never thought that I would see vindication after vindication so close to like my commentary. Usually it takes a while for people to come on board with the things that I'm saying. And yet nowadays, because of the administration's accelerated buffoonery, you kind of get you kind of immediately see the action. Like things are happening things are happening at a much faster pace. But it is wild. Like, that's why I say Parker Broadcasting Service for tomorrow's news today. This is part of the reason, right?
It's to defend America.
Yeah, and Senator, I want to ask about what the Wall Street Journal is reporting about your colleague, Senator Lindsey Graham. The Journal is saying that Graham traveled several times to Israel in recent weeks to help make the case on Iran.
I don't know why, what's her face? Laura Ingraham is also kind of not fully on board. Laura Ingraham is not fully on board with what's happening either. It seems like she keeps hitting both angles.
Meeting with members of the country's intelligence agency, spoke with Netanyahu, coaching him on how to lobby President Trump for action. Graham said that Netanyahu showed the president intel that persuaded President Trump to go ahead. Senator, I know you all talk to foreign leaders, and that happens routinely. But speaking to a foreign leader on the precipice of war and seeming to be lobbying or being an intermediary, which this seems to indicate, is that the right way to go?
Well, listen, Lindsey is passionate about defending America, and he is on the road a lot. He's talking to world leaders all over the world. There are times when I agree with Lindsey. There are times when I don't. But when it comes to
what about this? Well, what about this? I mean, this is something of a totally different level, is it not?
No, actually, when it comes to the threat Iran poses, Lindsey agrees they pose a major threat to America, and I agree they pose a major threat to America. Look, Lindsey and I disagreed on the Iraq War. He thought the Iraq War was a good idea. I thought the Iraq War was a mistake. I think Iran is fundamentally different because Saddam Hussein was not murdering Americans on the scale and level that Iran has been doing. Saddam Hussein was not funding Hamas and Hezbollah killing Americans. And
bro, Saddam Hussein literally killed Iranians. Like, he is the worst person to compare this to. Like, if there's one guy, one historic figure in the region that you literally cannot compare to because he was objectively worse for, everybody else involved, it's fucking Saddam Hussein. Ironically enough, you use the Saddam Hussein example to say, despite his ruthless nature, like Iraq would be better off if he was not deposed. Like, it was a spectacular flub.
President Trump acted boldly to take out a regime that had been killing.
He used chemical weapons on his own people. Yeah, except those were good chemical weapons because we gave Saddam Hussein those chemical weapons to use against the Iranians, which he did. And then he used it on his own people, which again is, that's when it became bad because we decided we don't like Saddam Hussein because he was also shooting missiles at Israel. That was his biggest claim to fame.
Americans over.
He's the first to market with bombing Israel. So that's part of the reason why he has a lot of prestige in the region. Regardless, they call him a lion. Regardless,
we're not disagreeing on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not disagreeing with that. Our point is working with Netanyahu so closely to lobby President Trump, acting as an intermediary for a foreign country. Is that appropriate? That was my simple question. I'm not trying to be difficult here, but that's slightly unusual, is it not? I agree with you on the other points.
I don't think it's a fair characterization that Lindsey is an intermediary for Israel. And a lot of the critics say, oh, the war is all about Israel. Understand, it's not about Israel. It is about America. The reason President Trump acted is to defend America. There's a reason the Ayatollah referred to Israel as the little Satan, and America is the great Satan. I believe if the Ayatollah got a nuclear weapon, he would use it. Laura, if
I wonder why they say that. I wonder why they fucking say that,
Ayatollah
dude.
could kill you and me right now, he would. And that's why President Trump acted. And so I get frustrated with all the people who say, oh, this is all for Israel. No, it's not. This is for America. This is Donald Trump being the United States of America and protecting us. And you started your monologue by saying this was not going to be a protracted land battle with troops there for a long time. You're absolutely right. That is not going to happen. But the president is acting decisively to take out real threats to the lives and safety of Americans.
All right. Well, Senator, it's great to see you. As always, thank you very much.
USA on TV versus USA in the Middle East is really funny. Oh, man. Oh, will anyone bite? Yeah, Iran's IRGC says any Arab or European country that expels Israeli and U.S. ambassadors will be granted full freedom of passage through the Strait of Hormuz starting tomorrow, according to Iranian state media. Interesting suggestion. Directly putting the control over the Strait of Hormuz in the hands of Iran, once again, in the eyes of all the regional leadership. Considering that, we're bombing electrical infrastructure? And there it is. We're currently bombing electrical infrastructure, and Trump is planning to an op to try and seize the enriched uranium. Wait, what? No fucking shot. They're doing special operations in Isfahan? Ain't no way.
So we're going to go further and decisively defeating the enemy, whatever it takes. But 3 hours ago, he told CBS News, quote, I think the war is very complete, pretty much. Well, that statement posted by CBS correspondent Weijia Yang was at 3:16 p.m. Well, President Donald Trump knows the timing of that very well. At 3:17 p.m., the Dow Jones Industrial Average shot up, major recovery. Oil went down. Until then, of course, there had been fear, and frankly, overnight in the oil market, panic. Oil had gone well above $100 a barrel. It was absolutely incredible what we witnessed. It was at the highest in 4 years. There was worry and fear and panic, as I said, about a global economic catastrophe. But it is clear tonight, long after the markets have formally closed, that Trump, at least for now, does not have an intention of ramping the war down. In fact, CNN is learning this hour that the Trump administration is considering a highly complex and risky operation to retrieve Iran's known highly enriched uranium. Now, that would be a massive mission. That would require boots on the ground. It would require significant forces, special forces, and it would put a significant number of American ground troops in harm's way. Robert Kelly is a former chief nuclear inspector for the IAEA. He told out front that the United States, in his view, probably doesn't even really have a clue where that uranium is. He said, quote, it can be split up into so many batches, so it's probably not all in one place. Seems like a script for a suicide mission with little chance of success.
Did our greatest president just lie to us? Yeah. I mean, I just don't think they're doing that. I don't think they're doing that, especially because if they were fucking doing that, I highly doubt that they would tell the media ahead of time. But then again, I don't know anymore because it's so stupid. Because everything is so stupid. This is the IRGC guy who referred to Trump as the corrupted island man, presumably in reference to the private island of Jeffrey Epstein, Little St. James, nicknamed Pedo Island. Despite flying on Epstein's private plane 7 times, Trump says he never visited. Yeah, they're calling him Island Man over there, which is wild. Thinks he's the only one who said this.
At a couple of things going forward in terms of.
President Trump told CBS today that the war with Iran could be over soon. As I told David Gura at Business last week, 2 forces will ultimately shape how and when this ends: markets and munitions. Yeah, David Blinken and HasanAbi Piker, Anthony Blinken, and HasanAbi Piker in agreement here. Once the world hell is frozen over. We are living through the television presidency. Who knows? This was the intel that convinced Pete Hegseth to do this mission.
Detail on board. Rules of engagement, sir. Crew expendable.
Okay, with how stupid the current government is, this low-key could be like a part of it. You know what I mean? They're like, or they're just straight up going, yeah, we watched this play itself out in Call of Duty. We watched this play itself out in Call of Duty. Wait, shut the fuck up. No, Bezalel Smotrich's son actually got fucking murked? Ain't no way. I thought that he got like lasered in the legs or something. Like they pieced his legs up or something. 6 Scotch deep. This would definitely seem legit. Can't blame the guy. I thought Hezbollah just like ripped his legs apart. But reports of Ben-Gvir and Smotrich's son are dead. Wait, what? Ben-Gvir's son is dead too? Wait, what? Or you mean Ben-Gvir is dead? That's what they were saying, which, by the way, I don't know about that one. But yeah, Smotrich's son. Okay, guys, there are a lot of different fake news out there. One is about Benjamin Netanyahu's brother dying in Benjamin Netanyahu's residence that was bombed, is what they were claiming. We don't know if that's correct. There's one report about Ben-Gvir, Itamar Ben-Gvir, also dying, but then the Israeli government is claiming it's a car crash. Again, no evidence is out there for either of those things, okay? You're just hyping yourself up for no fucking reason. It's not, I don't think it's real. And then last but not least, this one is real. The Bezalel Smotrich's son, he got wounded seriously as shrapnel tore through his son's liver during an attack near the Lebanese border that wounded 8 Israeli soldiers, but we don't know if he's dead or not. Smotrich said his son was fucked up real badly. Yeah. Fragment tore through his back and stomach, ripped his liver, and came to rest 1 inch from the largest blood vessel in his abdomen. He was one of 8 soldiers hit in a single round. For all the politicians debating this war from podiums and press conferences, it just arrived at Smotrich's kitchen table. Yeah, I mean, that's usually not... yeah, that's Scott Ritter, man. Like, stop. Like, stop. Please, like... have a little bit more discipline with your sourcing, okay? Jesus Christ. This is one of the unfortunate byproducts of having like anti-imperialist like a wave of like anti-American hegemony politics rip apart the American collective consciousness, where you just like end up leaning into sources that are sometimes not very reliable, okay? Like, calm down. Like, you guys don't turn into like those fucking anti-hegemony accounts, you know, the hegemony destroyer accounts like Bricks Nation, Bricks News, and then the guy's like fucking, you know, weird like libertarian guy. Back to the special ops mission that seized Iran's uranium is very strange, because didn't the JCPOA literally have Iran shipping out most, if not all, of its enriched uranium? Like, what an own goal that is. Yeah, and then the other one was David Bernia or something, the head of Mossad. Again, we don't know if that's real or not. Where is Yemen in all this? Yemen has been waiting. Yemen has been waiting for the American aircraft carrier to reach its shores. Bro, seriously, trying to figure out what accounts are legit on X has been a nightmare for someone like me who never uses X. Yeah, everyone on Twitter loves to spread misinfo. It's kind of fucking crazy. Yeah, Bricks News says China is going to shatter American hegemony by offering nuclear arms to Iran. It's like, that's not real, man. Like, please. Like, please. His son did actually get hurt. Yes, his son did actually get hurt. Anyway, you are also going to get PSO'd. The U.S. empire, suffocated by his own power, tries to give his last death throw, seeking his survival, but unwittingly has come up against the strongest enemy in political history, the PSOE. I mean, I like it. It's because Pedro's so hot. I'm sorry. That's literally half of the reason for me. He is such an attractive man. I don't know what it is, but he cooked me. He cooked me, okay? I saw that handsome man come out and say, enough. You know, demonstrate bare minimum basic competence as a European country, as a leader of a European country. And I was like, wow, this is brilliant. This is incredible. Why does she keep posting shit like this, Lamau? I'm on a flight and my air host hands me a glass of champagne, sees my Mag and David. and beneath his breath whispers, L'chaim. He asked me if I want to splash a juice in my glass. I said, just a side of Am Israel Chai. He smiles. I say, are you a member of the tribe? He says, I just found out, yes, in my bloodline. I ask, where are you from? He says, I am from Venezuela. I say, holy shit. How are you feeling right now? Good. He says, I'd love to say more. I will just say, I feel more than ever for the world. Toba Rabba for the Yedid. Right. What the fuck? Fatlo. What the hell? Fatlo's ghost came after me. What the hell was that? What the fucking hell was that? I just got Eve Fatlo. Uh-oh. Internet is going in and out. It's not even a joke. Is actually cutting in and out right now. What the fuck? I can't believe it. Fatlo's coming after my internet. Fatlo's coming after. You hit the accent so hard it hit the connection. I don't know what that was. Anyway, let's get back to Iraq.
Is only defending ourselves. We are facing an act of aggression which is absolutely illegal, and what you are doing is
what the fuck? Hey yo, what the fuck? The hell? Dude, what the frick is going on right now? I'm texting my people. I know we went black screen for a second. My internet is cooked. What's going on? I'm Israel high. I love Israel. I love the nation state of Israel. It's the greatest nation of all time. There is no country that is better than the nation state of Israel. Israel is the only country in the world. It's a small nation, but it should be a larger nation. I believe in the greater Israeli project. Please, Israel high. Please, Mossad, stop hitting the laser beam on my internet connection, please. Okay, I think we're good. I think I said the necessary Israel highs to continue. All right.
It's the act of self-defense, which is legal and legitimate. We have already warned everybody in the region that if the U.S. attack us, since we cannot reach the American soil, we have to attack their bases in the region, their facilities, their installations, their assets, and as a result, the war would be spread into the whole region. So this is the consequence of the U.S. aggression against us. We are not responsible for that.
I do want to ask you about another recent strike that killed more than 170 people in Minab in southern Iran. It was at a girls' school. We've heard from President Trump, who said this weekend he denied any U.S. involvement. On Saturday, he actually said, based on what I've seen, that was done by Iran. You have said that strike would not go unanswered. What did you mean by that?
Well, this is ridiculous. I think all U.S. medias and different sources from American intelligence and American media, everybody have admitted that this is done by an American missile. There are footages of that. The footages are analyzed by neutral sources, and it is now a consensus that the attack is made by the United States, and they are in charge of the killing of 168 school girls who were absolutely innocent. They had sat in their classrooms, and all of a sudden they were killed by American military.
And we've heard from the Secretary of Defense an investigation is ongoing. But in saying that that strike will not go unanswered, I should note that Iranian strikes in other nations have already killed civilians. Are you saying now that civilians are fair targets in other nations?
What?
No, not at all.
Bro, that is crazy. Again, like saying that about the Iranian missile barrages so far. Saying that about the Iranian missile barrages so far is fucking nutty when Israel and America have killed thousands. Like so close after being like, hey, America double tapped a school with Tomahawk missiles and then blamed you for it, killing 160 little schoolgirls. On the other hand, your missile launches that have primarily been focused on not even like infrastructure, by the way, not even infrastructure, but just American military bases and specific targets hiding in residential areas that have led to, I think, like the total, which by the way, no civilian casualties is acceptable. Okay. I'm not making a defense for this at all. An appropriate thing to do in this circumstance is obviously going to be not targeting any residential areas at all. Having said that, however, looking at like the Iranian conduct so far in the last 9 days, as opposed to the American and Israeli conduct, there is very clearly one force out there that is not following the rules of law, and it's not the Iranian side. The fact that they can still say this shit is crazy. I cannot believe it. So America can kill thousands, and I mean thousands of civilians, because in comparison to the Iranian conduct thus far, Iran has, I think, killed like, there have been 2 confirmed like contractors, I think, like not defense contractors, but like 2 confirmed like workers that have died as a consequence, like have been killed by Iranian strikes because like they were like debris fell on them or something like that. As opposed to thousands that have been deliberately targeted and killed just in Lebanon alone for one fucking insane suicide mission the Israelis wanted to commit to. They killed 41 Lebanese villagers in one go. They've killed hundreds in Lebanon already in the last like missile barrage campaign that they started conducting. But they killed 41 villagers in one go because they wanted to extract like the fucking body of some old guy that died against his widow's wishes.
Civilians are not target. Maybe there has been some collateral damages, which is quite, natural in any war, but we have not targeted. Contrary to Americans who deliberately targeted our schools and hospitals and our infrastructure, even, freshwater desalinations, we have never targeted any civilian, location, any civilian purpose, any civilian place. There might be some collateral damages, as I said, but this is not our plan to do that.
Your strikes in some of your neighboring nations, though, have hit a hotel. They've hit oil facilities as well. We've heard from Saudi Arabia's foreign minister, who's condemning those attacks and warning that it retains its full right to take all necessary measures to safeguard its security. Are you worried about the regional impact of your strikes in the neighboring nations, that you will damage Iranian relations in the long run? Well, if they have all rights to take all necessary measures to protect their facilities, I think we are even, we have more rights to take all necessary measures to defend our ourselves, to protect our people, and this is exactly what we are doing. No, this is not our war. This is not our choice. This war is imposed on us. We are under aggression, and we are defending ourselves. They cannot accuse us for things which happen on the other side. They should accuse those who started this war. And I think they should be held responsible for any damage inside Iran and in the region, because everything has started by the United States and Israel. U.S. officials have noted that they're targeting your nuclear programs, your ballistic missile and drone programs, your naval assets. There are some who've pointed out they're also targeting headquarters and facilities of your internal security forces. Some of those forces who have been used to suppress public dissent in the past. And some analysts say the U.S. may be laying the groundwork for some kind of public uprising. Do you believe that's the case? And if protesters take to the streets, will they be allowed to protest?
Well, where are those protesters? We have now millions of people in the streets right now in support of the Islamic Republic, in support of the new supreme leader, in support of their military.
Like, bro, what country on the planet, if they were under attack of this sort, would allow discontent to exist internally? What country on the planet, like, we wouldn't even let students protest against a foreign country doing a genocide. In the United States of America, the Biden administration arrested 3,500 peaceful student protesters. We're not even talking about like people that had guns or anything, like that shot at the police or whatever. Like, we're talking about peaceful student encampments that Biden criminally prosecuted. And that wasn't even like America under attack. What do you think America would do if we were getting bombed by a foreign alien power? And there were people that were taken to the streets to be like, no, let them do the bombing, actually. It's good. What do you think America would do in that situation? They would fucking melt the protesters, bro. We know because we already did that. We did that at Kent State with Vietnam, and Vietnam wasn't bombing us. That was another fucking, again, war, forever war that we had initiated. And not only that, but also, we literally put every Japanese person in a fucking concentration camp during World War II, like ahead of time.
Armed forces. No, where are those protesters? People are, the big majority of people are now angry about this aggression. They are supporting, our armed forces. They are in the streets with the Iranian flags everywhere. So where are those, accusations come from? Yes, they have attacked many of our facilities. They have attacked our nuclear facilities, but they couldn't destroy our nuclear program because it is a technology, advanced and developed by ourselves. They have also attacked our missile, facilities, but they have not been able to stop firing missiles against themselves. So the firings continues, and we are prepared. We are well prepared to continue attacking them with our missiles as long as needed and as long as it takes.
That is the Foreign Minister of Iran, Abbas Araghchi, joining us today. Mr. Foreign Minister, thank you for your time.
Thank you indeed. Thank you for having me.
And a note, we did invite White House officials for an interview on the NewsHour. They declined. Our invitation still stands.
The American Public Broadcasting Service was able to reach out to the foreign minister of the country that we're currently at war with, and he was willing to entertain an interview. But our country's very own Department of Defense, also now known as the Department of War, refused to do an interview? What a fucking joke, man. What a goddamn joke we are.
Support your local PBS station. Your local station needs you now. Your generous financial support is more critical than ever to keep your local PBS station strong. Make a gift today to continue to provide a home.
This is the latest video we have of the day.
Like, I'll admit, it's not very difficult for me to say America bad. Like, they're doing the point. They don't even have any sort of like sophisticated propaganda to try and make it seem like America is not bad and there's like some kind of like overall good that they're doing this for. It's pretty crazy that they've just decided, nah, America's bad, honestly, and you need to shut the fuck up.
An area where a girls' school was hit in Iran. We've analysed the footage. And we think it might shed light on who was responsible for the attack. Here is why. No one disputes that the deadly strike took place. More than 165 people, including children, were killed in the blast.
More than 165 people, including children. It was mostly children. That's crazy. Overwhelming majority were children, little girls.
During school hours at the elementary school, according to Iranian state media. Both sides have blamed each other. New light. It was put out by an Iranian news agency which said it shows the school being hit. That's wrong. Actually, it is a building in the same area, and so far there's no footage of the school strike itself, but it does give a very important clue about what might have happened. If you look closely at the start of the video, you see the strike, and then you can see smoke coming out of an area where the school is supposed to be. And here you can see the outline of a missile quite clearly. Experts have told us this is a US Tomahawk. Then we went and looked for footage of US military action on the same day. We found this video released by the US military that shows similar missiles being launched on the same day of the school strike. We can't say whether this particular salvo or this particular missile was part of the attack, but it shows they were being fired at the same time. The US is the only combatant that uses the Tomahawk missile. But why would someone want to strike that site? Well, we had a look through the satellite images, the before and after. This is the satellite image of the compound before the strike. The main part of this is an Iranian Revolutionary Guards naval base. The school, built at the same time, is separated from the base by a wall. You can see brightly coloured walls which look like chalk markings on the floor and the outline of a sports court. And this is after. The imagery shows large holes in the centre of each of the buildings targeted, indicating precision strikes, but absolutely devastating when they hit. Let's go back to that video of the Tomahawk missile. It appears it is hitting one part of the IRGC base, but not the school itself. There's a plume of smoke on the right. This is where the school is, indicating it may already have been hit by this point. Israeli spokespeople have said they were not aware of any operation in the area and said they didn't know who was responsible. President Donald Trump rejected accusations that the US was behind the attack. His defense secretary, Peter Hegseth, was a little more guarded.
No, in my opinion, based on what I've seen, that was done by Iran.
Is that true, Mr. Hegseth? It was Iran who did that?
We're certainly investigating.
Still investigating.
But the only side that targets is Iran.
Without independent access to the site or clear imagery of any potential missile parts recovered, that investigation may take some time. But the devastation of the strike is also clear from another type of satellite imagery. This shows graves being dug for those who were killed, row after row of them. This was a strike in the very first days of the war. While it still continues, there's similar potential for more civilian casualties.